Part 18. Pokemon's Character Master. Author, Ai Ren Huo Chiang Xiao. Chapter 178. Roar. The roar of the salted fish king suddenly sounded in the gym, and the noise swept into wild waves in the pool. Not long after, an open-shelled armored shell floated on the water. Clearly stunned, Bai Yushin's mind was bombed at the platform, and her eyes became blank. At this moment, there seems to be a three-hit combo of illusions of who am I, where am I, and what am I doing. Then, lower your head. Woo 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 woo. Bai Yushin lost, she lost completely. She had just come to the water gym and passed the intern assessment not long ago. I was beaten to tears by the new challenger. Mosquito repellent frog, one move will kill you. The horned goldfish, like the mosquito repellent frog, is instantly killed by the same moves. The armored shell, actually couldn't take care of himself due to the roar of the noise. Is this a battle? Don't all battles between water elves depend on water? How come it just ended? Bai Yushin took back the armored shell in a daze. All three elves of Bai Yushin, the resident trainer of the water gym, were defeated. The challenger, junior trainer Yang Yu, won. The referee's voice sounded in the gym. Junior. How the hell is this elementary? I'll twist off my head and use it as a ball to kick. I won't believe it even if you beat me to death. Lu Hanyu, who challenged him earlier, was already confused. He hadn't even finished the game yet. How come the guy next door who challenged him later had already finished the game? However, when he raised his head and saw the Gyarados in the pool next door that was higher than the partition. 666. It's amazing. It's worthy of being Yang Yu's brother. It's worthy of being Gyarados. It's great. Yang Xiao raised Larulas high in the stands and cheered for Yang Yu on the battlefield. Lalu lalu. Huja huji. Yang Xiao looked at the female trainer from the gym opposite who was crying and leaving. He shook his head and muttered in a low voice, "Brother actually beat a female opponent to tears, I'm so pitiful, little sister. But my brother is so powerful." But what Yang Xiao didn't know was that before that, Yang Yu had beaten two female trainers, a female student and a female lecturer to tears in the school. At the same time, there were many girls who wanted to line up to be beaten to tears. Yang Yu was stunned for a moment. Why was the female trainer in front of him crying? However, why do we need to add this also? After all, he is the resident trainer of a gym. He is a person who has fought many elf battles. Can you be stronger? Yang Yu seemed to have overlooked a very important thing. Bai Yushin has indeed fought hundreds of elf battles, but the situation of being directly penetrated by three people is becoming less and less, especially as the strength increases. The elf battles are evenly matched opponents. Not to mention, Yang Yu still carries the title of junior trainer. What kind of junior trainer is this? It made her Bai Yushin stunned and cry. Tian, don't cry. Don't cry. It's just a loss. There's no need to be so sad. Yes, Tian, there will always be genius trainers popping up in this world. There is no need to compete with those perverts. My sister Bai Yutang is still very open-minded. Even if they become one of the resident trainers in the water gym, in the future, even now, there will still be many young trainers who can defeat them. I want to become stronger. Bai Yushin wiped her tears and clenched her fists. Then let's work hard together in the water gym. Elite trainer Lang Wengxing smiled and stretched out his hand. It's not a big deal to lose a game. Learn experiences and lessons from the game, and don't do it the next time you face your opponent. Just do it again. Boss, what should this player do next? Does he want to continue the challenge? Senior trainer Ye Xiao asked curiously. No need, the next battle is left to me. At this time, two incredible figures appeared in the resident trainer's field. Master Lin. Elite trainer Lang Wengxing immediately stood up straight, and the senior trainers Yexiao, Bai Yutang, and Bai Yushin beside him stood at attention at the same time, looking at the two respectful figures with reverential gazes. Master Lin, is this too much to make a fuss about? To deal with this young trainer, I can just go on the field and defeat him, elite trainer Lang Wengxing couldn't help but say. Fang Lian's eyes gradually turned cold, and the atmosphere around him suddenly fell into freezing point. Master, Lang Wengxing is wrong. Lang Wengxing suddenly cursed himself, damn it, because he shouldn't speak at this time. Hey, Xiao Fang, it's okay, don't be so serious, they don't know what happened yet. Master Lin Xiaohong waved his hand, indicating that his proud disciples around him should not treat his subordinates like this. Lang Wengxing, since the teacher has spoken, this matter is over. I hope there won't be a next time. Fang Lian nodded, and his aura slowly calmed down. The resident trainers, especially the two sisters Bai Yutang and Bai Yushin, did not dare to take a breath. They only felt that the surrounding atmosphere that had turned to freezing point was slowly becoming normal at this time. The owner is so scary, Bai Yushin's little heart was beating wildly. Master Xielin, thank you, Master, Lang Wengxing apologized respectfully. At this time, even in the cold atmosphere, his forehead was still covered with sweat. Xiao Fang, for the next battle, let the three Venus be merged. I want to see if Yang Yu is strong enough today to gain my approval and win the right to take away King Slow in the water gym. Qualifications. At this time, the white-haired old lady standing next to the water gym leader exuded a deep and endless aura, like the endless sea, deep and mysterious. Yes, teacher, Fang Lian, the leader of the water gymnasium, nodded and gave the order at the same time. Lang Wengxing, Yexiao, and Bai Yutang, the three of you, go and help and merge the three Venus into one. Then, Bai Yushin, go and help player Yang Yu's Gyarados recover to full strength. Bai Yushin's voice suddenly trembled. Yes, the owner, Sister Bai Yutang reacted quickly and immediately pulled Bai Yushin's arm while glaring at her. Yes, the owner, Bai Yushin began to cry loudly in her heart. She really doesn't want to go. Can she tell the truth? She felt that Yang Yu's Gyarados hit her with no effort at all, so she didn't have to help restore the Gyarados' strength at all. At this time, the gymnasium was temporarily closed. Trainers Li Feng and Lu Hanyu directly left the water gymnasium because they lost the game. This was something they couldn't figure out. The Venus below will be combined into three for a fully enclosed elf battle. Please leave for now, Lang Wengxing said calmly, with a forceful tone that could not be refused. This, who wants to fight a completely enclosed elf battle inside? It can't be that boy named Yang Yu. How is this possible? No, he has a Gyarados. How old is he now? Li Feng and Lu Hanyu looked at each other, because they should be kicked out now. They really want to go in and watch the game. Can you just take a look? Woo woo woo. At this time, Yang Yu stared blankly as Bai Yushin, who had left crying before, came back reluctantly. This time, the expression on her face was even uglier than when she was crying. She was not as good as when she was beaten to tears. How beautiful it was when she was, but it's not just a little bit prettier than now. This expression made Yang Yu seem to be bullying her. Use the liquid circle to help my salted fish king regain his strength. No, no, it won't take much physical effort to defeat you. Just eat some energy cubes and you'll be fine. Bai Yushin. Wow. Bai Yu stomped on the spot angrily, and left crying again, even worse than before. Yang Yu. Clang. 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 Directly above the water gym, three big lights lit up in sequence. All the baffles in the venue were removed. At this time, the three huge pool venues had turned into an entire even larger pool venue. Yang Yu came to his position, but it was directly opposite a pool that was at least 3 or 4 football fields in size and at least 300 to 400 meters long. A figure whose whole body was as bright as moonlight appeared. This back view. Yang Yu's heart couldn't help but jump, and Yang Yu's salted fish king felt a deep tremor from the bottom of his heart. White Sea Lion. Salted Fish King's former devil coach Xiaobai. Master-disciple battle. Pokemon's character master. Author, Ai Ren Huo Chiang Xiao. Chapter 179. Twist. Xiaobai, the White Sea Lion, turned around. He still has the same pair of eyes that are as smart and clear as water, with a few drops of crystal water on the slender eyelashes. His whole body is as white and tender as snow, making him an extremely elegant elf. Seeing the Carp King in front of him, the Salted Fish King who had leapt from the Carp King to the Tyrannosaurus, Xiaobai felt deeply in his heart. No one would have thought that a few months ago, this was just a Salted Fish King undergoing devil training under her hands. At that time, the Salted Fish King was only a little bit big and could even be surrounded by other White Sea Lions. Little brother, are you okay? Obviously, this is no longer possible. Seeing the Gyarados that was already 2 or 3 stories high, Xiaobai could faintly feel the intimidating aura. Roar. The Salted Fish King lowered his roar and once again saw the devil coach Xiaobai who trained him. He never expected that he would appear in this place and in the form of such an opponent. As his strength improved, the more he could feel the good intentions of the original devil coach Xiaobai's rigorous training. He had to endure hardships to get fish, and the Salted Fish King was grateful in his heart. Just today. Roar. This master-disciple showdown is destined to be inevitable. Yang Yu, welcome to the water system gym. Beside Xiaobai, Grandma Lin's thin figure slowly walked out. Master Lin, Yang Yu took a deep breath. After seeing this respectable elder again since leaving Ocean Park, Yang Yu felt filled with gratitude in his heart. Ha ha ha, you don't have to call me Master Lin. If you want, just call me Grandma Lin like you did in Ocean Park. Grandma Lin smiled kindly and looked at Yang, who was standing in front of her opponent. You, his eyes were full of appreciation. Grandma Lin, Yang Yu couldn't help shouting. At this time, Yang Xiaoyu, the only outside spectator in the stands, had an O shape with her mouth, and murmured, so she is the Grandma Lin that brother Yang Yu mentioned. Ha ha ha, okay, okay. Grandma Lin smiled in admiration, and then her eyes gradually became serious. I didn't expect that in just 2 or 3 months, you would cultivate your Salted Fish King to such an incredible level. The situation is very good, it seems that I did not misjudge you. Hearing what Master Lin said, the trainers stationed in the gym were all dumbfounded, with their eyes bigger than bells. Did they hear wrongly? Or were you hallucinating? Master Lin, what did she just say? 2 or 3 months. Bai Yutang felt that his tongue was no longer smooth. 2 or 3 months to raise a Magi carp. Raised a Gyarados. I don't think I can do it for 2 or 3 years. Bai Yushin, whose eyes were red, stupidly stopped wiping away his tears. His mind was filled with the idea of raising a Gyarados in 3 months. It seems that Bai Yushin didn't lose unjustly. Elite trainer Lang Wengxing sighed and looked at Bai Yushin with sympathy. For some reason, he felt that it wouldn't take long for Yang Yu to defeat him. Cried him. Forget it, let's leave such a good opportunity to girls. Yang Yu, let's take action. Let my Xiaobai come and see if you and your Salted Fish King have grown up over the past 2 or 3 months. Are you qualified to bring back the Dude King from my side? Yang Yu nodded. At this moment, he knew very well what kind of opponent he was going to face. That's the Water Gym Leaders University instructor. No, maybe he doesn't know at all. Not sure, so what? You've already come, so why not, have a good fight? Salted Fish King, this may be our most difficult elf battle. Yang Yu raised his head, his eyes filled with excitement for this battle. He also saw that in the pupils of Salted Fish King, just like him, burning with a burning will to fight. Ho ho ho. The Salted Fish King knew very well. His opponent is his own teacher. If the devil coach Xiaobai attacks with all his strength, it will be far more terrifying than when he was training. But the salted fish king looked back at the stupid seal on his body. It seemed as if the scene appeared in front of him when he used telekinesis on Xiaobai in order to save him in Ocean Park. In order to stop Xiaobai, the salted fish king has always remembered that scene and will never forget it. Now, it's his turn to take action. Salted fish king, let's go. Yang Yu clanged his hand vigorously and pointed in the direction of Xiaobai. The salted fish king slowly lowered his head, and when he had fully accumulated his power, he looked up to the sky and roared in an instant. Roar! This is the salted fish king's declaration of war against Xiaobai. This is the former apprentice's challenge to the master. Okay, Grandma Lin's eyes were full of excitement. The battle between elves is to put aside all unnecessary distractions. No matter how strong the opponent is, daring to show his sword should be the fighting spirit that a young trainer should have. Xiaobai, it's up to you. Twist. White sea lion Xiaobai jumped into the water from the edge of the pool, and the splashes were so elegant. In Xiaobai's eyes, his former student had challenged him. Then, defeat him and tell him that if you want to become a powerful elf, you need more experience. Salted Fish King, Tornado. Yang Yu shouted loudly. Xiaobai, serve. Grandma Lin looked at her Xiaobai calmly. She knew in her heart that Xiaobai knew how to deal with it. What's more, Grandma Lin carefully looked at the moves used by Yang Yu and the battle instructions. A tornado forms a whirlpool of water. It's a good idea and the power is pretty good. Unfortunately, you will encounter surfing with even more terrifying power, Grandma Lin murmured. At this time, in the pool, the salted fish king raised his eyes. His terrifying and intimidating aura had no effect on Xiaobai. He quickly rotated his body in the water, forming a huge tornado, mixed with the water in the pool, and headed towards Xiaobai's direction invaded. Only. Wow! In an instant, a towering giant wave formed on Xiaobai's pool, like a huge rolling wall of water, crashing hard towards the tornado rolled up by King Salted Fish. On top of the huge waves, a white sea lion, shining like the bright moon, came riding the waves under the spotlight of this gym. What? Surfing? Yang Yu's pupils shrank. Salted Fish King, fly up and get out of the way. Roar! Xiaobai used the surfing move to form a huge wave, and the wave hit it down. The terrifying power of the move directly swallowed up the Salty Fish King's tornado and water vortex in one go. When the huge wave wanted to engulf the Salted Fish King in an instant, the dragon's body, shining with crystal clear blue, fully unfolded. Soaring from the water. Gyarados, Yang Xiao couldn't help but stood up, his eyes sparkling with crystal tears caused by excitement. Laru. Huji, Huji Huji. Roar. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Pokemon's Character Master. Author, Ai Ren Huo Xiangxiao. Chapter 180. What? Did it? This terrifying surf move, Gyarados dodged it? Too strong, Bai Yushin stared blankly at the Gyarados flying into the air. The elf shining so brightly in the air left a deep mark on her heart. At this time, directly above the gym, there was a toned and strong body, and at the same time, the sparkling blue scales even produced a strange sense of beauty on the huge body of Gyarados. Good job, Salted Fish King, Yang Yu clenched his fist fiercely. Xiaobai's surfing move was stronger than Yang Yu's imagination. The scene in front of him just now was like the sea opening waves. The huge mouth wants to swallow his Salted Fish King directly. Terrible. Roar. The Salted Fish King, whose eyes gradually began to fill with anger, let out a deafening roar in the air towards Xiaobai below. Salted Fish King, now, Dragon's Wrath. Yang Yu pointed at Xiaobai in the water and ordered the most powerful special move currently mastered by the Salted Fish King. Ho ho, ho. The Salted Fish King, whose pupils were shining with anger, opened his ferocious mouth. At the same time, a ball of burning dragon's anger in his mouth became bigger and bigger, burning more and more powerfully, just when it reached the critical point. A terrifying beam of light struck hard at the snow-white body in the pool below. Dragon's Wrath. Why is this Gyarados Dragon Fury so powerful? With this move alone, this Gyarados already has the strength of an elite-level elf, right? Senior trainer Yeshao couldn't help but feel his mouth go dry for a while. No wonder, so many trainers are focused on cultivating a Carp King. Once the Carp King evolves, the strength will be such a terrifying improvement, Bai Yutang couldn't help but said. He really didn't use much strength. Bai Yushin looked at the blazing dragon light pillar on the pool ground, his head was in confusion, and he didn't know what he said, if he had used strength. Suddenly, Bai Yushin's body shivered involuntarily. Why did it seem to become cold? In the sky, the beam of Dragon's Wrath seemed to suddenly stop. In the pool, circles of water appeared around Xiaobai. At the same time, after the circles of water spread out, an incredible thing happened. These water waves, in the moment they spread out, directly condensed into God ice. Roar! The Salted Fish King's pupils shrank and he immediately stopped releasing the dragon's anger in his mouth. His instinct told him, danger is coming. This feeling is unmistakable, just like in the past, when he was training under Xiaobai, Xiaobai used various moves to beat him. This has become the instinct of the Salted Fish King, and he gradually understood it through the beatings. Ability. Whoosh! Yang Yu took a breath of air. He had already sensed something was wrong before King Xianyu's Dragon's Fury hit him. Xiaobai couldn't let the Dragon's Fury hit him. When Yang Yu suddenly saw white mist appearing in front of his eyes. Why is there white fog here? Is this an illusion? Yang Yu exhaled again, and the white mist that appeared in front of him was absolutely correct. It was exactly the same as the scene where a lot of white mist appeared when breathing in the morning in the winter. Suddenly, Yang Yuji shivered. The pool, this pool venue, is centered on the previous center of the Dragon's Wrath, which is where Xiaobai, the White Sea Lion, is. On that side, the water surface freezes rapidly and spreads to all sides. This is freezing light. Yang Yu stared at the snow-white figure on the ice, and from Xiaobai's mouth, a beam of extremely cold ice-blue light was sprayed out. No, Salted Fish King. Yang Yu raised his head and saw that the Salted Fish King had already stopped using the Dragon's Wrath move and quickly left the original location. This made Yang Yu feel relieved. Freezing light? Ice legendary special moves? There is a certain chance of freezing the enemy. If you are in a cold environment, the chance of freezing will be greatly increased. It's so cold. What a scary White Sea Lion. Elite trainer Lang Wengxing has summoned a fiery beast beside him, and started to keep everyone warm with the flames behind the fiery beast. I'll bring that little sister here. Bai Yutang rubbed his hands. The little sister was still wearing short sleeves. Yang Xiao's teeth clacked. This was the first time she had seen such an incredible battle between elves. That White Sea Lion was really powerful. It turned the entire pool venue into an ice-type venue, causing the temperature to drop down. Pull, Lalulus shrank his body and moved towards Yang Xiao's arms. Yes, it was a bit cold. Larulus, don't be afraid, I'm here. Little sister, come with me quickly. It's too cold here. Go to a warmer place and continue watching the game. Bai Yutang waved immediately. Likewise, she saw little Lalu huddled in Yang Xiao's arms, cute Lalurulus, wow, still wearing a skirt. Yes, thank you sister, Yang Xiao nodded. This big sister is a nice person. Although she was beaten to tears by her brother, but Yang Xiao took Larilis and her brother's skull bag, and followed her sister to the place where the permanent trainers of the gym were. It was much warmer here than outside, and everyone gathered around the explosive beast to warm up. Huh? Why are there two identical sisters? Ah, that's my sister, we are twins, Bai Yutang, who picked up Yang Xiao, said with a smile, little sister, come here, it's too cold outside. Thanks. Yang Xiao placed the portable fish tank facing the competition venue, and then took Larilas over to warm up by the fire. It's Larilas, I'm so envious. Bai Yushin looked at the little cutie in Yang Xiao's arms, especially the way Lalilas looked soft and weak in his arms, which made people pity her. The person fighting outside right now is your brother, Ye Xiao asked with a smile. Yes, yes. Everyone, come and see, this battle may be over, and Gyarados may lose, Lang Wengxing couldn't help but said. Brother, are you going to lose? Yang Xiao immediately hugged Larilas and moved forward. He still didn't want to admit it, how could brother Yang Yu lose? At this time, the window outside the window had turned into a field of ice and snow, and huge snowflakes even began to float above the gym. Ice-type special move, Hail, are you going to use Blizzard next? Then, can my brother's Gyarados hold on? Yang Xiao's voice was trembling. Your brother is already very powerful. I have never seen such a talented trainer. He is really powerful, but his opponent is even more powerful. She is the teacher of our water gym leader. She retired from Hangzhou University. The professor is a very powerful senior, Lang Wengxing explained to Yang Xiao in a very gentle and calm tone. At this time, he already had full admiration for this young trainer in his heart. This white sea lion from Master Lin. Already able to defeat his entire team of elves? Freezing light? Hail? Snowstorm? The temperature dropped in this place alone is enough to make many elves drink a bottle, not to mention the harsh environment of hail and snow. At this time, in the blizzard mixed with hail, it was difficult for Yang Yu to see the shadow of the salted fish king clearly. The white sea lion Xiaobai, Grandma Lin's elf, was so terrifying. Is this Xiaobai's true strength? Reluctance flashed in Yang Yu's eyes, and he was unwilling to lose like this. Xiaobai, let this duel end. Twist. Arrogant light flashed in Xiaobai's eyes. Even if the salted fish king evolves and becomes a powerful Gyarados, in front of her as a teacher, a student should act like a student. Freezing, light. The blue light, in this snow-white field, seemed to bring an end to the entire duel. When the blizzard and hail in the sky completely dissipated, an ice sculpture of Gyarados appeared on the battlefield facing the ice. At this time, Grandma Lin had completely recognized Yang Yu in her heart. In this duel, Gyarados could not defeat Xiaobai no matter what. There were still many gaps. But Yang Yu is still qualified to take away King Dude from her. When Yang Yu brought Gyarados to the water gym, Grandma Lin already approved it, but she still wanted to see how strong Yang Yu's Gyarados was. This game. The referee's voice sounded on the field. No. It's not over yet, it's not over yet. Tears had already shed from the corners of Yang Yu's eyes. At this time, he used a hoarse voice to yell unwillingly at the Gyarados that had turned into an ice sculpture, Salted Fish King, Salted Fish King, Salted Fish King. He is. Bai Yutang was stunned. Can't you bear the blow? Lang Wengxing shook his head. In this game, the gap in strength is too huge. He should calm down and continue to practice and adjust his mentality, otherwise it will affect his future. Brother, you have to work hard, Gyarados is so big, you won't lose. Laru. Huji, Huji Huji. Yeah. This game. Click. At this moment, an extremely terrifying sound came from the venue. Yang Yu suddenly raised his head. An incredible light flashed across Grandma Lin's calm expression. Fang Lian, the owner of the water gym, looked at the huge Gyarados ice sculpture in front of him in disbelief. Click. Kaka. Click, click, click. Lang Wenzing, who was still talking, suddenly closed his mouth. The two sisters Bai Yutang and Bai Yushan stared closely in the direction of the ice sculpture, breathing rapidly, and their minds went blank. How is this possible? Ye Xiao's eyes widened. Gyarados, Yang Xiao shouted with all his strength. Among the ice sculptures, the bright blue scales seemed to be covered with a faint layer of blood red, and then the ice sculpture was completely shattered. Roar. Pokemon's Character Master. Author, Ai Ren Huo Xiao. Chapter 181. What kind of monster is this? Gyarados, why did it turn red? He's still growing. Oh my god, how many meters does this have to be? It's almost 10 meters. No, 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 it will definitely be more than 10 meters, elite trainer Lang Wenzing felt like he was in a dream. How terrifying is this? The presence. Gyarados, Yang Xiao looked at the Gyarados breaking through the shackles of the ice sculpture, and there were even tears of excitement in the corners of his eyes. Lalu. Lariulas opened her mouth wide, and she was gesticulating with her little hands. She found that she couldn't figure out how big this scarlet Gyarados was. Huji. Huji, the little fish was so excited in the fish tank, and its eyes shone with admiration. On the ice surface of the water gym, a terrifying giant beast with scarlet light all over its body appeared. He completely broke free from the ice sculpture, his pupils were burning with angry flames, and his eyes were staring at the white sea lion Ziobai. Is this the prototype of that step? A thought flashed through the mind of Fang Lian, the water gym leader. How is this possible? Chow. The prototype of super evolution. Grandma Lin's expression gradually became serious. Even at her age, she would be extremely shocked by this unexplainable scene. Teacher, doesn't that step require the elf to have a strong physique? Only the strength of a gym-level elf or above is extremely unlikely to be achieved, Fang Lian, the gym leader, couldn't help but say. This Gyarados, has its body reached the strength of a gym-level elf? Grandma Lin raised her head and looked at this scarlet Gyarados, which was several times larger than an ordinary Gyarados. His strength is not at the elite level, but he has a gym-level elf body. This young man, how on earth did he raise this salted fish king? Grandma Lin's tone was full of pride, and even a hint of envy. It would be nice if De Wang was younger. At this time, Yang Yu saw the furious state of the salted fish king appearing in front of him again. The coldness of the venue could not stop his passion. King Salted Fish, use the move on the frozen water, Salted Fish Stab. Yang Yu tried his best to sound the clarion call for counterattack. Roar. The Salted Fish King was fearless and his huge body slammed into the frozen pool. Boom. The huge impact force created a huge crater on the frozen ground. At the same time, a crack quickly opened from the ice, towards the White Sea Lion. Twist. White Sea Lion Xiaobai's face immediately became calm and solemn, and all her previous arrogance had been put away. This time, from the scarlet Gyarados in front of her, she felt a kind of pressure that seemed to come from the life level. It has nothing to do with intimidation characteristics. Twist. The White Sea Lion's mouth once again spurted out extremely cold freezing light, but in the mouth of the Salted Fish King, a ball of dragon's anger that was even larger than before. At this time, it spurted out with all its strength. Dragon's anger. Boom. The power of the huge moves collided in the air, and they were evenly matched. In fact, the blue light beam was weaker than the fiery red light beam. At this moment, a terrifying energy explosion seemed to form where the moves collided. The energy generated by the explosion counterattacked at the same time towards both Xiaobai and Salted Fish King. The cracked ice surface could no longer withstand the explosive energy and exploded in the field. Twist. Roar. The powerful protective shield of the water gym was opened at the same time, helping Granmalin and the gym leaders Fang Lian and Yang Yu to withstand the shockwave of this terrifying move. Salted Fish King. Noob. Yang Yu and Granmalin looked at the damaged ice surface at the same time. When the ice chips and flying snow completely stopped, a white sea lion was staring ahead at the scarlet Gyarados with its head still raised on a piece of floating ice. This is the final battle between teachers and students. Who will be unable to hold on first? The elegant white sea lion was already a little embarrassed at this time, with scratches and wounds on his body, while the fierce salted fish king had many scarlet scales on his body, which were still frozen by the cold ice. The damage caused by the energy explosion just now was far greater than the previous one. It's even worse if it freezes into an ice sculpture. Only White Sea Lion can no longer use the liquid circle on the ice. The powerful ice ability turns the pool into an ice pool, cutting off Xiaobai's delusion of using the liquid circle. But the Salted Fish King also has a hidden characteristic that no one except Yang Yu can think of. Regenerative power. The regenerative power is continuously restoring the wounds of all sizes on King Salted Fish. Finally. Twist. Bai Haishi closed her eyes and fell on the ice unwillingly. She lost to her former student. The referee's voice still didn't come. At this time, the voice of Shuishi gym leader Fang Lian sounded in the venue. The White Sea Lion has lost its fighting power. Gyarados wins. Well done, King Salted Fish. Yang Yu passed directly through the protective shield, stepping on large and small broken ice, and then his expression suddenly changed, and he fell into the ice hole. Help, 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 help. Yeah. A voice that sounded like Yang Yucheo's thoughts appeared. Yang Yu saw a pink and light white tail appearing at the entrance of the ice cave. It's him. It's him. Dede is here to save him. Yang Yu quickly hugged him. He had to hug him. Dada used his tail to catch Yang Yu from the hole in the ice. Ah, today is such a good day, I actually caught someone, what a big catch. Grrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrr of the Salted Fish King. Roar. The Salted Fish King, whose anger slowly dissipated, had a hint of joy in his pupils, and at the same time, there was also a bit more guilt. He defeated his teacher. The teacher was also seriously injured, right? At this time, Happy Egg, the doctor of the water gym, cooperated with Gem Starfish to use the healing wave and liquid circle to quickly revive the white sea lion Xiaobai. The somewhat weak Xiaobai shouted softly in the direction of the Salted Fish King. "You win, well done." "Ho," the Salted Fish King murmured gratefully. The huge scarlet body of the Salted Fish King has slowly faded away, gradually returning to its bright blue color. Grrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrr fish. Take a good look. Ben-Dede is about to take action. The salted fish king looked back in confusion and raised his hands in a daze. Suddenly, he remembered an indescribable scene. This action. Why does it feel so familiar? Did you almost lose your wits last time? Any place that Ben-Dede touches with his hands will be cured immediately. Ho 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 ho. Pokemon's Character Master. Author, Ai Ren Huo Chiang Shao. Chapter 182. Growling, growling, growling. Yeah. Ho 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 ho. The waters of Red Lake. This is the gym water area of the water gym. Facing the morning glow, something rolled from the bottom of the water on the wide horizontal surface, and then, a huge, dragon head slowly rose from the water. Under the dragon's head, the sparkling water made huge waves. This was a Gyarados. Behind Gyarados, an elf with a golden head shining is so dazzling. When the dazzling outline approaches, it's a silly king wearing a golden conch hat. This slow king's feet are on Gyarados, and his left hand seems to be directing. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead. Ho ho ho. I don't know how long it took. Behind the two elves, a cruise ship slowly emerged from the horizon. Now that I think about it, it's still a bit unbelievable. Grandma Lin Xiaohong stood steadily on the deck of the gymnasium cruise ship, like an ordinary old man out for fun. No one could have imagined that her identity would be so amazing. Yeah, I originally thought it would be great to raise Magikarp into Gyarados, but I didn't expect that the physique of this Gyarados far exceeds that of ordinary Gyarados. Gym leader Fang Lian was at the side. At this time, she no longer had the aura of a gym leader, and she looked like a middle-aged tourist who came out to relax. Grandma Lin, Master Fang, I'm still far behind. Yang Yu felt a little embarrassed. These two people in front of him can be said to be the real masters in the elf world without hesitation. Their compliments made Yang Yu feel a little embarrassed. You blushed a little. What, did you forget something again? Do you still call me Fang Guanzu? Fang Lian pretended to frown. Sister Fang. Yang Yu smiled apologetically and immediately changed his tune. Grandma Lin, and Fang, where are we going now? Yang Xiao followed Larulas and walked out. Xiao Yu, and Larulas. Now, take your brother's salted fish king for training, Grandma Lin said with a smile, looking at Xiao Yu and Larulas, her eyes full of love. Yeah, your brother's saltiness, forget it, I'll just say Gyarados, why is it called such a name? Fang Lian shook his head and looked at Yang Yu. Your brother's Gyarados' current moves, I know too little about it, so let's take advantage of these few days to see if I can learn the basics of some moves. As for the move learning machine, how could it be as effective as the step-by-step instructions from Master Lin and the Master of the Water Gym, Senior Sister Fang? The experience here cannot be compared with a learning machine. With the guidance of a good teacher, you can avoid many detours. Just like Yang Yu, who can forcefully teach good singing into noise. Yang Yu. For the special water-type moves, let's start with the water gun. This is the foundation. Even if the elf later learns the water cannon move, after all, this move is also derived from the water gun move. Grandma Lin decided on the Salted Fish King training plan. Yang Yu nodded. He had no objections to Grandma Lin's training plan and even agreed with it with both hands and feet. Xiao Fang, I might have to trouble you a little more then, Grandma Lin said with a smile. What's the trouble, teacher? After all, this is my junior brother who has been here so many times. Hall Master Fang Lian nodded with a smile. In her mind, after yesterday's battle, she felt that Yang Yu the affirmation has surpassed the vast majority of people on the key list. Thank you Grandma Lin, thank you Senior Sister Fang. Hey, I also can't figure it out. How could there be a trainer like you who chooses the elf out of common sense? The first elf chose the Salted Fish King. Then, I also saw that there was another elf in your fish tank. Only, that little elf, is even more difficult to evolve than the Salted Fish King, and much more difficult. Grandma Lin waved her hands in confusion, but for Yang Yu, she didn't know why she had new expectations in her heart. Perhaps it was the miracle of raising the Salted Fish King into a Gyarados in the past 3 months that made her feel, maybe, he could do it? What if? Every time it is born, it is a beautiful legend. The Salted Fish King didn't know that a new round of hard days was coming for him. He was still running around in the water with Day happily. So happy. Yeah. Yeah. Dumbly patted the Salted Fish King's neck. Roar. The Salted Fish King felt that something was wrong, so he turned around and took a look. A ship that sets off together? Master Pinch? There was nothing behind him, except for a few Magikarp splashing and jumping on the water from time to time. Yeah. King Day raised his head. The Salted Fish King lowered his head. Salted Fish King IQ is in arrears and needs to be recharged urgently. King Dudu, recharging, please wait. Salted Fish King IQ add 1 add 1 add 1 add 1. Roar. The Salted Fish King seems to have come to his senses. Did they swim too fast when they came? The injuries on the Salted Fish King have basically recovered, and he hasn't seen Duday for a long time. This time, they are finally together again, and it was the Salted Fish King who used all his strength to defeat his teacher by Haishiziobai, so that he could take Dai back. Stay here. Such excitement made the Salted Fish King extremely excited early in the morning, and he immediately rushed off at a speed he didn't even know he had. Yeah. Slowpoke moved back and found the place where he had the seal. Then lie down and hug me. Wow, the Salted Fish King flight mode has been activated and is being verified. Dada Wang, the identity verification is valid and the verification is passed. Roar. The Salted Fish King tumbled out of the water, throwing up huge waves with his huge body, and then jumped up. Flight. Grrrrrrrr. After taking off from the water, the broad field of vision allowed Salted Fish King and Dede to have a clear view of the current environment. Soon, Dede found the slowly approaching boat. Right behind you. Roar. Xianyu dynasty flew in the direction of the ship quickly. Brother, Gyarados is back, and there's Dudu, Yang Xiao pointed excitedly at the sky not far away. Every time she saw Gyarados flying in the sky, she felt particularly excited, as if it was like he was flying. Yang Yu saw the golden, conch hat behind the Salted Fish King at a glance, and he smiled happily. Salted Fish King and Dede, they seemed to be very happy. But that's it? Yang Yu stared at a certain Salted Fish King with a smile. The Salted Fish King didn't know why, but he shook excitedly in the air. He seemed to have seen this familiar expression on his master's face somewhere. Where is it? Ka. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Pokemon's Character Master. Author, Ai Ren Huo Xiangxiao. Chapter 183. Why should I learn to surf too? However, Yang Yu thought that he could always stand at the edge of the river in peace and contentment, watching how the Salted Fish King learned to use the water gun, touching his dull round belly, and feeding the small fish by the way. It would be even better if you could have a cold drink or a beach bed at this time. You can enjoy this wonderful leisure time comfortably. But Yang Yu looked at the giant swamp monster coming out behind the owner of the square carrying several surfboards. His eyes were so wide that they could bulge out. Ho 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 ho. The Salted Fish King swung his tail happily by the river. It was obvious that he was very excited that his master was also learning to surf. When I was still a Carp King at a young age, at that time, I was still a pure and innocent little cabbage that knew nothing and could only splash water. Later, I learned to make noises for no apparent reason, and then, for no apparent reason, the devil instructor Ziobai gave him a harsh training, and he couldn't even escape. Now. Ho ho, hee hee. Of course I have to learn. Fang Lian, the owner of the gym, was holding a surfing tool in his hand and looked at Yang Yu as a matter of course. Why, haven't you thought about one day taking Gyarados from the seaside and traveling around the world? Travel the world with Gyarados. Yang Yu could only dream of it. But what does this have to do with whether he can surf or not? Besides, Teacher Lin was also a master of surfing when he was young, and I learned surfing from her. Now that Teacher Lin is older, and you are Teacher Lin's little apprentice, of course I will teach you how to surf. Fang Lian, the owner of the gym, threw a bag of equipment to Yang Yu. Stop talking nonsense and go inside the boat to change it. A trainer who can surf can better control an elf who can surf. However, you and your Salty Fish King already have a deep relationship. Even so, when the elf is learning moves, as a trainer of course we have to take action, Grandma Lin said with a smile. Brother, come on, Yang Xiao raised Larula's high. Lalulis's skirt flew up. This time Yang Yu obediently returned to the boat and changed into this lightweight Feo surf suit. Come out, thorny Dragon King. Come out, Dia Sea Lion. Two more powerful elves appeared next to Hall Master Fang Lian. Little guy, someone is here to train for surfing again, Fang Lian, the owner of the gym, said very affectionately. The spiny Dragon King and Dia Sea Lion in the water seemed to be jumping very excitedly. Yang Yu secretly turned sideways and saw the shining eyes under the bald head of the Dia Sea Lion, as well as the spiny Dragon King jumping excitedly in the water, and swallowed his saliva. He shrank his neck, suddenly having an ominous premonition. Swamp monster, you should go and help too. Ah! No, please, help, help, help. When the huge waves on the river seemed to open a ferocious mouth and gnawed down in the direction of King Salted Fish and Yang Yufa felt a tremor from the bottom of his heart. Beginners will indeed feel scared at first. This is normal. However, life is like this huge wave that knocks you over time and time again. Do you have to be afraid of this huge wave forever and be unable to lift your head in front of the huge wave? Fang Master Lian's voice sounded in Yang Yu's ears. Raise your head, even if it slaps you hard in the face and knocks you down, you still have to raise your head. Conquering this huge wave is a new beginning. Before Master Fang Lian finished speaking, Yang Yu was swallowed up by the huge wave. The Salted Fish King did not use flying to escape from the mouth of the huge wave like he did during the elf battle. Instead, he quickly moved towards Yang Yu before the huge wave swallowed him up. Roar! Brother, Yang Xiao saw the figure on Gyarados' back and couldn't help but exclaimed, Gyarados is so powerful. Yang Yu shook his head that was hit by the huge wave, remembering the frightening feeling that he felt like he was about to be completely swallowed by the huge wave. When he opened his eyes again, he saw the Salted Fish King's eyebrows furrowed, as if he was worried about him. Yang Yu panted heavily and extended a thumb to the Salted Fish King. When faced with the danger of huge waves, the Salted Fish King's huge body gave him an extremely strong support. An indescribable warmth burst out from the bottom of his heart, making Yang Yu extremely grateful. King Salted Fish, let's keep working hard and conquer this huge wave, Yang Yu patted King Salted Fish on the back hard. This was not only a message to King Salted Fish, but also an oath he made to himself. Ho ho! The Salted Fish King roared twice deeply. He was worried about Yang Yu's condition. At this time, Yang Yu exuded an aggressive momentum, which encouraged the Salted Fish King. Although when he first heard that his master was coming to participate in surfing training, he was a little gloating in his heart, but at the most critical moment, he would still stand up when danger approached. In front of Yang Yu, resist this huge wave. You have a strong fighting spirit. This is the advantage of young trainers. With such a passion for not being afraid of hardships, and sharing the joys and sorrows with the elves, what is there that they can't conquer? Grandma Lin nodded in praise, her kind face full of emotion. The smile, at the same time, contained deeper expectations for Yang Yu. Brother, come on, Yang Xiao always believed in his brother. By the way, Xiao Yu, besides helping you adopt Larulas, has your brother captured other elves? Grandma Lin said with a smile. Larulas are still in the accelerated period of natural recovery, some training is not suitable for her at the moment. Yang Xiao nodded, smiled, and took out a pokeball from his backpack. Yes, Grandma Lin, and Fang, brother helped me catch a ghost too. Hey hey hey. A black elf with purple flame slipped out of the elf ball, and at the same time snapped. Grandma Lin and Fang Lian. Ghost escaped back into the elf ball on his own. What a disgusting feeling. I will definitely be back. This ghost, why does it feel a little different from the ghost we imagined? Grandma Lin shook her head with a smile. A bit sexy, gym leader Fang Lian shrugged, but I just seem to see Larulas using superpowers. Maybe this is a unique training method between Larulas and Guis. Yes, it's no wonder. I asked why Yang Yu captured a ghost elf for his sister. Grandma Lin clicked her tongue in surprise. After all, most people have an instinctive resistance to the attribute of ghosts. Lalulus waved his little fist. Then, Grandma Lin, Aunt Fang, and Guy Sai's training. Sometimes, the best way to train is to let nature take its course. Just like your Larulas and Guis, they look young. Just like people, they also need a happy childhood. However, Yang Yu is not happy at all now. Ah, Julian, you and I. Wow. I can't fight anymore. Asking for a monthly ticket. Pokemon's Character Master. Author, Ai Ren Huo Chiang Xiao. Chapter 184. Yeah. Ah, thank you Dede. Yang Yu was paralyzed on the river beach, running over with his little feet in a daze, handed Yang Yu a bottle of red Kentaro energy drink, and then quickly opened the tab. After Yang Yu took it, he drank heavily. He woke up a little and began to breathe heavily. He stayed aside and patted Yang Yu's back gently. Yeah. Huh, it's much better. Don't worry, Dudu, it's okay. Yang Yu turned a few big somersaults in the waves again today. This is already the third day of training for surfing. Compared with the first day when Yang Yu would only be swallowed up by the huge waves, today was much better. After all, Yang Yu didn't have a strong body like the Salted Fish King. The Salted Fish King can take the damage from such a surf while feeling the surfing moves. Yang Yu probably wouldn't be able to last that long without the Salted Fish King's help. Grrrrrrrrr. Yang Yu slowly regained his strength, resting and watching the Salted Fish King's training. In terms of surfing, Xian Yuang is much more talented than Yang Yu. Ho 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 ho. I have experienced the baptism of surfing with White Sea Lion Ziobai, Thorny Dragon King, Dia Sea Lion and Giant Swamp Monster. Although they are all surfing moves, different users have different feelings. White Sea Lion Ziobai's surfing is an endless wave, one wave after another. If the first wave is resisted, there will be second and third waves, seemingly endless. When the Thorny Dragon King is surfing, the water hits you like needles. If it hits your body, it will give you a stinging feeling. The surf monster's surf is somewhat similar to that of the White Sea Lion, but it is thicker than the White Sea Lion's. It is like adding mud, which can limit the enemy's speed. As for Dia Sea Lions, both Salted Fish King and Yang Yu enjoyed an ice sculpture service. Yang Yu was a little better, but he felt that the river water was cold and cold. When he came to the shore and wanted to warm up, he realized that his hair had actually stood up like ice ridges, like a Renaissance man. As for the Salted Fish King, he is a living ice sculpture. After emerging from the huge waves, he immediately formed icicles. In short, Yang Yu knew where his previous ominous premonition came from. Despite the loyal and honest appearance of the Dia Sea Lion, especially the eyes covered by eyebrows, in fact, this bad old man is very bad. After experiencing the surfing and washing used by different elves, Yang Yu refreshed his understanding of the elves' moves. Seeing these powerful elves in front of him undoubtedly opened a new door for him to become a trainer, and he even began to think about, if King Salted Fish learned to surf, what would the surf he used look like? At this time, Salted Fish King can already feel the mystery of surfing moves. He is experiencing the beating of surfing every day, growing up in the beating, learning in the beating, and waiting to go back this time. Beat those trainers and elves for crying. Ho 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 ho. Yang Yu's eyes suddenly lit up. In front of him, behind Gyarados, a wall of water slowly formed that was getting higher and higher. Have you learned it? Grandma Lin took a few steps forward. 3 days, good understanding. Judging from the height of the water wall rising behind, the moves are already somewhat familiar. You just need to practice more and increase your proficiency, Gym Leader Fang Lian nodded. This time in her it was expected that if she couldn't learn a single surf move under the guidance of her gym-level water elves, then she might as well learn to hit. Learning to hit is easy, just hit your head against the wall. It's just, I feel like this surfing looks a bit familiar. It seems like somewhere. Fang Lian's eyes suddenly brightened. It's that duel. Grandma Lin couldn't help but tremble, and her tone was a little excited. I didn't expect that I could see it here with the Salted Fish King who just learned the surfing moves. Yang Yu didn't hear the excited voices of Grandma Lin and Hall Master Fang Lian, and he looked confused now anyway. When it comes to surfing, the elf shouldn't be controlling the power of the huge wave on the wave, but why did the Salted Fish King run in front of the huge wave? The expression of excitement just appeared on Yang Yu's face, and he immediately became dumbfounded. He had never seen surfing like this before. At this time, the Salted Fish King felt the wall of water gathering behind him, and the wall of water was rolling towards him. This was the move he had learned, and he used this move to surf. The wall of water behind him brought a raging pressure, as if an army was pressing down on the territory. Since it was an army pressing down on the territory, then there must be a general leading the army. Who is this general? There is no doubt that the Salted Fish King will do his part. The Salted Fish King did not stand at the top of the huge wave formed by the surfing moves, but rushed to the front. Wow! The Salted Fish King ran into the huge wall of water where the white sea lion Ziobai used to surf, and then... Wow! The Salted Fish King swept up from behind, and the waves he used, hit the Salted Fish King again. Two huge water walls were like two square pieces of bread, and then gave the Salted Fish King this long strips of ham sausage. Into a hot dog. Or Rajiamo. Or join the KFC luxury lunch. Supreme salted fish fort? Anyway. Yang Yu slapped himself in the face, and he felt that he couldn't stand it anymore. You seem to be a bit of a slut. Could this be the two-in-one move of salted fish stab and surf? The salted fish thrusts into the opponent, and uses surfing to cause huge water pressure to both himself and the opponent at the same time. Yang Yu remembered the scene just now. What if the opponent also uses surf? Could this Salted Fish King stop charging so fast and give Lang a chance to show off? We agreed to go together, but why did you rush in first? Ho ho ho. The Salty Fish King jumped out of the water. This feeling of learning and mastering surfing moves, it's so exciting. Roar. Yang Yu looked at the Salty Fish King who was content in the sky with black lines on his head. He could only hope that the Salty Fish King would have a longer memory and be hit by the surf he used. Wouldn't it hurt? This move seems to be very suitable for the Salted Fish King. Grandma Lin's voice sounded from beside Yang Yu. Seeing the expression on Yang Yu's face that seemed to be full of hatred, she suddenly laughed. Yang Yu, don't underestimate Salty Fish King's surfing technique. Yes, this surfing move reminds me of the shocking showdown in the Elven world a few years ago. Hall Master Fang Lian's tone was full of memories. It was the Elven showdown between the Chinese Dragon Envoy and the Western Dragon King. Yang Yu looked very surprised. Could it be that this move wasn't what he thought? It was a duel that I don't know how to describe, but you can imagine such a scene. Senior Sister Fang Lian's next words made Yang Yu's whole body tremble with excitement. When your Salted Fish King rushes at the front of the wave, there is a huge wave behind him. On top of this huge wave, there are countless water elves standing. They follow the huge wave and follow your Salted Fish King. Charge forward. This is it, Overlord. Pokemon's Character Master. Author, Ai Ren Huo Chiang Xiao. Chapter 185. Brother, brother, brother. We're here. Ah, we've arrived at the station. Where are we? Yang Yu suddenly stood up from his seat. We're almost in Hangzhou, brother. What are you thinking about, so obsessed? Yang Xiao poked his head and looked Yang Yu up and down carefully, which made Yang Yu confused. Nothing much. Before Yang Yu and Yang Xiao left, Grandma Lin and senior sister Fang Lian warned him carefully. Your Salted Fish King's other form, before you obtain the elite trainer badge of the Elf Alliance, it's best not to show it. Grandma Lin changed the smile on her face and told Yang Yu very seriously, the things involved here are not accessible to you with your current strength, but you should be able to guess that these are some secrets about super evolution. Yes, I have issued a silence order in the gym. I can guarantee that this matter will not be publicized in the water gym. The expression of the gym leader Fang Lian was equally solemn, but soon, his face a smile appeared on his face. But, little junior brother, you don't have to be too nervous. If anything happens, you can send me a message immediately and let me know. The water gym will be standing behind you. Yang Yu was shocked inside, and even felt a little overwhelmed. Don't be too stressed. There isn't much we can do to help you. You still have to walk your own path as a trainer. You take Dada and Salted Fish King with you and take them out to see more of the world. The seriousness on Grandma Lin's face disappeared and she said with a smile, by the way, there is also Xiao Yu, your little elf must be well cultivated. Thank you Grandma Lin, thank you Aunt Fang, Yang Xiao said with great gratitude. In the past few days, Lalula's physical condition has recovered a lot here, thanks to the help of Grandma Lin and Aunt Fang. The elf breeders here have various magical formulas to make food. Like it very much. It just seems that Gaisai is suffering. Because Laralus's reaction speed has become faster. Snapped. From the original 1 click occasionally, it can become 2 clicks. Double pain, only Gaisai knows. But what Yang Xiao couldn't figure out was that Gaisai had obviously suffered so many losses. Why didn't he have a better memory? At about this time, I remembered those naughty children in the yard when I was a child. Brother Yang Yu at that time seemed, like this, right? The Overlord Elf, the Overlord Elf who can command a group of elves to fight for him. Yang Yu felt that his heart was filled with anger. If there really was such a moment. Ka. Cluck, K. Yang Yu tilted his head. He had returned to school and was walking on the edge of the pond. In the pond, the carp kings were splashing in the water, making the iconic cluck K sound. The picture that Yang Yu just imagined in his mind was that after his Salted Fish King used surfing, on the water wall behind him, a strange red figure suddenly blended in among the group of high-spirited water elves. They splashed in the water and made a cluck, 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 cluck sound. Then, more and more magi carp appeared on the huge waves, and finally covered all the shadows of other elves. Yang Yu. It's better not to think about it. That picture is a bit scary. Yang Yu took a deep breath. He wanted to erase the picture from his mind, but found to his embarrassment that the picture was getting clearer and clearer, and even many details were revealed. The carp kings vying for the lead opened their slanted eyes one by one, splashing on the huge waves, rushing forward, listening to the king's command, rushing duck. It's just that Yang Yu didn't think of another scene for the time being. What if these magi carp evolved? Yang Yu opened the door to the arena. At this time, the arena venue had been repaired, and the so-called Yang Yu went bankrupt again did not occur. At the same time, there were some more equipment in the arena that Yang Yu couldn't understand, but there were words on them that Yang Yu could understand. Under construction. Yang Yu, are you back? Principal? Why are you here? Yang Yu was a little surprised. Not long after he arrived at the arena, the principal came back. It seemed that Who did teleported and brought him here. There was a notification in my office that someone entered the arena by swiping their card. At this point, I guess you are back, Principal Jin Xiaodong said with a smile. Well, the principal is wise. Yang Yu touched his nose, feeling a little embarrassed. Okay, you came back just in time. Do you understand the equipment in front of you? The principal waved his hand and pointed to the site in front of him that was still under construction. I can't understand. Yang Yu shook his head. It's okay if you can't understand it, Principal Jin Xiaodong said with a smile. There are some equipment here, and I can't understand it either. Then this is. Yang Yu wiped his sweat. Why did he feel that the principal was a little out of tune? The latest move training equipment of the Elf Alliance, and it is the one with the highest strength. As long as the strength of the elite level elf is below, it can be used safely. Principal Jin Xiaodong was high-spirited, just like a rich man saying there is no shortage of money. Even at Qingjing University and Yanqing University, their students still use this method. Ah, only elite level, Yang Yu's voice trembled. Principal Jin Xiaodong didn't seem to hear the word CAI. Perhaps Yang Yu's voice shook a little when he said the word CAI, making the word sound very vague. Although the school is not as rich as Yanqing University and others, we can still afford a set of such equipment. In the past, the equipment in our school was only enough for intensive training below the strength of high-level elves. Now, Principal Jin Xiaodong seemed to see the beauty. He stood up, reached out and patted Yang Yu's shoulder, looked into Yang Yu's eyes and said seriously, "This way, your Gyarados can strengthen its training here." Yang Yu felt that there was something in his heart that he wanted to express first. Seeing Yang Yu's excitement about wanting to speak, Principal Jin Xiaodong immediately put on airs. "Hey, student Yang Yu, don't worry about thanking you. This is what the school should do. In the Elite League, those training equipment were so violent to you. For a carp dragon, it's not of much use, so this would be too unfair to you. So, this equipment is installed in the arena. You can use it whenever you want." Principal Jin Xiaodong felt that his voice became excited when he spoke, and his whole person seemed to be 20 or 30 years younger. At that time, in his prime, his voice was so confident and loud. "Principal, can I speak?" "Say." Principal Jin Xiaodong was very satisfied with his speech. If he scored 99 points out of 100, would it be okay? "Principal, does the Elf Alliance have more advanced training equipment?" Yang Yu was very moved, but he still had something to say. "More advanced?" Principal Jin Xiaodong was dumbfounded. "This is already the highest level. Training above the elite level cannot be helped by these instruments. It can only be achieved through hard training and experience, which can be equal to or stronger than the strength it is effective to engage in elf battles with opponents." "Then Principal, what should I do if I can't use these instruments for the time being?" Yang Yu finally said what he wanted to say. It was too uncomfortable to hold it in. "Headmaster. Well, if my salted fish king is trained, these instruments may not be able to withstand it." "Headmaster. Why the hell didn't you tell me earlier? You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment." Pokemon's Character Master. Author, Ai Ren Huo Chiang Xiao. Chapter 186. Yang Yu. Principal Jin Xiaodong's tone at this moment seemed to have aged 20 or 30 years, but soon, this long and old appearance was suddenly full of youthful vitality. "Yang Yu, are you going to hit a crying girl again?" "Yang Yu." The principal looked at the expression on Yang Yu's face in confusion. Could he have guessed it right? "Ahem, what I want to say is, what kind of training did your Gyarados receive? How come it can't use the elite level elf training device?" Principal Jin Xiaodong did not continue to tease. He only wanted to know this answer. "I'm going to learn new moves. My salted fish king has a little less attack power now. Except for Dragon's Wrath, there are no other particularly powerful moves," Yang Yu said truthfully. "What does except Dragon's Fury, there are no other particularly powerful moves mean? Your salty fish thrusts, the noise, the water whirlpool formed by the tornado, aren't they powerful? By the way, There is also water splashing that can cause earthquakes. Principal Jin Xiaodong wiped the sweat from his forehead. Why is this young man becoming more and more scary? However, this is a good thing for the University of Electronic Science and Technology of China. After this instrument is installed, put it here. It can still be used when you catch a new elf. As for how to help you continue to train Gyarados, I will think about it carefully when I go back. Principal Jin Xiaodong looked at this. Yu Fang spent a lot of money to buy the equipment. He originally wanted to give people a surprise, but in the end, he was shocked by Yang Yu. The principal felt miserable. Well, thank you principal. Yang Yu was even more grateful in his heart. The principal is a good person. The training equipment that has not yet been installed in front of him looks so high-end. It must have cost the school a lot of money, right? You're welcome, I'm leaving now. Principal Jin Xiaodong felt as if he had become redundant again, but now his mind was filled with the thought that Gyarados is already an elite elf. Yang Yu watched the principals who did teleport away from the arena with the principal, and couldn't help but sigh in his heart. The principal seemed to care about him very much. He even knew that he beat a girl to tears again on the 11th day. Yang Yu seriously took out another elf ball from his backpack. In this elf ball is the long-lost partner of him and the Salted Fish King, the Dude he brought back from Grandma Lin after defeating the White Sea Lion Ziobai. Come out, dumb. Yeah. Dada rubbed his eyes and yawned into the air. When he saw the place with the big pool clearly, he immediately ran over. Yeah. The pool is still very clear. The golden conch cap was clearly visible. The conch cap seemed to be fascinated by his golden appearance again, and his eyes were very intoxicated. Salted Fish King, come out too. Roar. Yang Yu took out the portable fish tank from the backpack behind him. The little fish has been staying in it for the past few days. It is still too small now, and Yang Yu doesn't want to put it directly into the elf ball. Huja huji. Dude heard the cry of the little fish, and then immediately took off the intoxicated conch cap and handed it to Yang Yu. Grrrrrrrr. Yang Yu smiled and nodded, then poured the small fish in the fish tank and the water into the stupid conch cap. The conch had expressed strong protest. He is a noble, all gold, king's hat, not for holding small fishes. However, the protest was ineffective. The little fish was extremely familiar with this golden fish tank and immediately made a cheerful sound. He even stuck his head out and rested his fins on the edge of the conch cap. The conch cap has stopped protesting. Now it just wants to find a place to be quiet. Why did it want to bite this stupid head? Was it because it couldn't think about it? No, it didn't want to bite the tail. Dede is with the Salted Fish King. The Salted Fish King is on the right, and Dede is on the left. Dede is holding his own golden conch cap in his arms, and at the same time, the little fish comes out of the conch cap. He walked toward the pool in a daze, without any movement, just simply walking, like a unique walk between friends. Roar. Yeah. How are you doing? How are you? I'm doing okay. How are you doing? Huja huja huji. The Salted Fish King and the dull figure walked around the edge of the pool. This time they get together, they should have a long time together. Yang Yu didn't bother, but just sat down on one side of the venue. One foot was dangling boredly in the air. It would be better if I had a piece of dogtail grass in my mouth at this time. This 11th, I have gained quite a lot. The Salted Fish King has learned surfing, the signature move of the water system, but more training is needed. More importantly, I have brought back Dudu. Yang Yu looked at the scene in Ocean Park in the past reappeared before my eyes again. Time flies so fast. I helped Xiao Yu capture a ghost. Grandma Lin and senior sister Fang also helped us certify the ghost in the Elf Alliance. In this way, if Xiao Yu summons a ghost, there will be no other impact. As for Larulas, it seems like there is a ghost here. The recovery of superpowers should be quick, right? Sure enough, the elf world still relies on strength. If you are an ordinary person, Xiao Yu is not yet an adult and is not qualified to obtain the junior trainer qualification in the Elf Alliance. I really want to thank Grandma Lin and senior sister Fang. Yang Yu's ears seemed to hear Grandma Lin's encouragement again. The journey of being a trainer has just begun. If you have the opportunity, take Salted Fish King and Dede out for a walk and see the great rivers and mountains of this world. And the words of senior sister Fang Lian. Perhaps, one day in the future, we will stand as opponents on the grounds of this water gym for a 6v6 elf battle. At that time, I will be the leader of the water gym, and you will be the one. A brand new challenger. I hope you can get the water gym badge from me. Yang Yu lay down on the stool, clenched his fists, and fell into deep thinking facing the gradually dimming light above the arena. Yeah. A shadow with a round head and big ears appeared in front of Yang Yu. Roar. A huge black shadow with two long beards hanging at the same time also blocked Yang Yu's sight. Yeah. Dede put his hand on Yang Yu's fist. Roar. The Salted Fish King lowered his head and twisted his beard up. Huja huji. The little fish jumped happily in the conch cap. The golden conch could only silently accept the setting of this fish tank. Nice to meet you. Ho ho ho. Yeah. Huja huji. Yang Yu sat up straight. There are elves by my side. Very nice. Pokemon's Character Master. Author, Ai Ren Huo Chiang Xiao. Chapter 187. Yang Yu closed the door of the arena. The Salted Fish King, Dede, and Xiao Xiao rested inside. There are still 2 days left in the National Day holiday. There are not many people on the road at night in the school. The only sounds that can be heard are the occasional splashes of water from the pen. It's a quiet autumn evening. I don't know what elf Fang Chen and Hong Kong captured, Yang Yu thought to himself as he walked up the stairs. During the National Day holiday, I wanted to look for the next elf. Although the wild ghost appeared during the holiday, it was defeated by Larulas after all, so it naturally belonged to my sister Xiao. It's a little regretful, but it's always happy to be content. Being able to come back is the biggest gain from this trip to the south of the Yangtze River, Yang Yu thought with satisfaction. It's 403. Yo, the light is on, it looks like someone is back. Is it Wenren Fang Chen or Hong Kong? Yang Yu smiled and pushed the door open. However, at the door, under the light, there was a yellow elf holding its head, with 2 eyes that seemed to be full of capital. At the same time, there are 3 black dull hairs on the head. Quaye. The smile on Yang Yu's face froze. How could it be a reachable duck? How come there is a reachable duck in 403? Quaye. Kodakya's eyes full of question marks kept staring at Yang Yu, as if he was asking. Who is this guy? Yang Yu felt an inexplicable sense of familiarity arise directly from his heart. When he was in Ocean Park, a group of yellow ducks wagging their tails and looking confused met a group of pink ducks who were motionless and dumbfounded. At the same time, they met a red and lively Salted Fish King. Quack 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 quack. When Kodakya saw Yang Yu about to walk in, he immediately held his head in fear and retreated in a panic. The webbed feet seemed to have phantoms, and then he directly hit the stool, and the stool was separated from the ground. A harsh sound. Crunch. Quack 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 quack. Kodakya seemed to have thought of something, and ran towards the bed, pushing someone on the bed with his hands. Kodaya, why did you run out on your own? A man who seemed extremely depressed and sleepy appeared in front of Yang Yu. Hong Kong. Yang Yu. Great, you're finally back. The 2 thick dark circles on Hong Kong's eyes simply frightened Yang Yu. Hong Kong, what's wrong with you? I won't talk anymore. I'll just cry if I talk too much. It's great that you're back. I can finally find someone to cry to, Hong Kong grabbed Yang Yu's shoulders and started yelling. "What's going on, Hong Kong? How did you catch a duck?" Yang Yu was a little shocked. "Quay." Kodak Duck also had a curious and puzzled expression on his face. "Hey, hey, hey, what's wrong with you? Yang Yu, you're still looking at me with such an innocent face. I'm so angry." Ah! Tragedy was written all over Hong Kong's face. He looked so sad and angry that he wanted to cry but couldn't because he himself now I feel like laughing and crying at the same time. Yang Yu glanced at the question-marked Kodak next to him, suddenly thought of something, and asked quickly, "Hong Kong, your Kodak didn't get into the elf ball by itself, did it?" Silence. 403 suddenly fell into deathly silence. Hong Kong opened his two panda eyes and stared straight at Yang Yu. The expression on his face was as if he had knocked over a 5-flavor bottle. He was so confused that he didn't know what to say. "Quay." Kodakya put his head between Yang Yu and Hong Kong. "Why don't you talk anymore, Hong Kong?" Yang Yu looked at the expression on Hong Kong's face that was hesitant to speak and wanted to speak but couldn't. He believed with an 80% probability that he might have guessed right. "I originally wanted to catch a coconut egg tree. Even an egg is fine." Hong Kong put down his arm feebly and began his story. Yang Yu moved the bench, and he didn't know whether his face should be smiling, comforting, or laugh. "I went home and went back to the small island next to my hometown. When I went to play on that island before, I met Dan Dan and Coconut Egg Tree. My first elf Mohima, it was on that small island obtained around." Quack. Kodak Duck was also listening carefully. Although it couldn't understand what its owner was saying, it felt like it was a happy story. "Kodaya, don't interrupt, shut your mouth." Hong Kong was so angry. "Quay." Kodak tilted his head. "A figure seemed to slowly appear above my head. Hong Kong. He has lost his temper. In the past few days, my temper has been tortured by this duck. I originally planned the trip to take the sea Spinosaurus with me. If I have a chance, I will catch a coconut egg tree, but if I am stressed, I will catch an egg. They all have superpowers and can be learned through learning machines." Teleportation move, Hong Kong continued to tell his sad experience. "Then, you caught a duck." "No, it's not that simple." Hong Kong began to clench his fists and gritted his teeth. "My sea spiny dragon fought with the coconut egg tree for a long time. It was taken while the coconut egg tree was drinking water on the edge of the lake in the island. The sea spine dragon struck first and had a good opportunity. And, the tornado has already hit the coconut egg tree. That's when the nightmare happened." Yang Yu held his breath and listened carefully to Hong Kong's story. "Coconut's friends are here. There are many coconut egg trees on the island, and there are many eggs along with them. They are a group of coconut egg trees. How can I beat them?" Yang Yu nodded. "This would indeed happen when capturing wild elves. If the elves live in groups and see their companions being bullied by their trainers, of course they will take action with the same hatred." "Then what?" "Then I took the sea spiny dragon back and ran with it. I rode there. As long as I run to the boat on the edge of the island, I'll be fine. But I don't know when this duck will start running with me. The coconut egg trees are chasing me. What's the matter with the fact that there is an extra duck for no reason?" When Hong Kong thought of the scene that day, he almost burst into tears. "Quay. The duck has obviously forgotten many things, and its mind is blank. But I had no choice but to run. Who would have thought that this duck would follow me directly onto the boat?" Yang Yu didn't know what to say. How could such a thing happen to Hong Kong? "Turtle, this is the duck god. How could I possibly take him away? I originally wanted to let him go when I swam farther away and escaped from the egg tree island, but the result..." "The result," Hong Kong himself started to jump in anger. "He can't swim," Yang Yu said subconsciously. How do you know?